not from New Japan, from WWE to New Japan. New Japan had their second night of Wrestle Kingdom 17. There was a lot of memorable matches, a lot of memorable moments, including a Jay Briscoe tribute where all the wrestlers from New Japan and I believe members of the Noah roster surrounded the ring with pictures of Jay Briscoe. Really, really nice. Really, really heartwarming stuff. However, it seems like the talk of the show was the incident between Okada and I don't want to mispronounce his name. I'm not even going to say his name. Okada was involved in an incident in a tag team match. Essentially, that his opponent kicked him in the face while he was applying a submission. That led to a no contest because they were brawling outside of the ring. Wanted to know your impressions of that incident and Wrestle Kingdom 17 overall.
Oh, that literally like took my whole attention. I was watching that shit in the gym and like I couldn't tell because again, I don't watch like New Japan steadily. I know that they're known for stiff shots, but bruh, like he was over there in a hole and then he hits him like a couple times and he's just dealing with it. He's just dealing with it. He's just being a worker. Then like he legitimately kicked him in the face. And that look on like when he just looked down at his hand for a hot second and he's like, yo, this motherfucker like fucked up. When he did that, I was like, oh shit. Like I didn't know if this was part of the show or not, but I'm like security's not coming out and the wrestlers inside the ring kind of stopped wrestling. And like you could tell that Okada was trying to dip back and forth between, all right, let me get my lick back, but then let's go back to the match because this is the biggest pay-per-view show of the year type of deal. But the other guy, his name, I'm not going to say his name because I'm a botch it too. He just kept coming at him. And at some point, like the gloves were off and they were like legitimately smacking the dog shit out of each other and kicking each other in the head, putting each other through barricades and tables. I was like, what is going on here? But again, like security wasn't stopping it. So I couldn't tell. I could not tell. But again, off of like context that I got from someone else, Okada had spoken down about this man in another interview, basically saying like, he's above him, that this guy doesn't mean shit to him, that like, why am I even wrestling this guy? And that guy, I guess, took it personally and just got his lick back and kicked him in the face. That was whoa. That was just whoa. And I'm surprised New Japan like let it go that far. Like I don't know how their guidelines work, but that's a pretty bold move to attack the biggest star. Like, can you imagine anyone in WWE attacking John Cena? No, right? Is this like a regular thing that happens in Japan? Because again, I don't watch the show as attentively as someone like Banks, for example. So I was trying to actually see like what's your guys' take on this, and can you guys like offer any insight if you know any more about the situation? Any of you?
Yeah. So you're not supposed to do that in pro wrestling, period. Like if you potato me, I'm gonna send you a receipt, and it happens all the time. Not so much nowadays, just because we got a bunch of Chip and Dale dancers, in these promotions. But back in the day, if somebody were to, waffle you, you give them a receipt either now or later to let them know you can't hit me like that. So they were supposed to build up the program. Obviously, that was a work that Okada did when he originally said, yeah, he's below me, but it probably was a shoot now, seeing how everything went. But it's still supposed to be a build up for a match. But little dude took it, personally, and that's why he was like, all right, Okada, and he was no selling the kicks to the back. Like, all right, bro, let me put this hold on. Let me sell a little bit. And it was premature for him to jump in the ring and start, kicking them. Like you could break the hold when it's a tag match, but he immediately wanted to break the hold. If you look, and the referee like, yo, chill out. So he wanted to break it ASAP. You like, dog, you got to let him work the back like he was doing, and then pause, and then come in and try to break it up. But then when he kicked him in the face, I said, yeah, bro, that's not what you're supposed to do. I don't care if we in Timbuktu. I don't care if we in space. Don't kick me in the face. That rhyme, and I didn't mean to do that. So from there, they start fighting, like the Bad Girls Club, because that's all it was. It looked like a little... Yeah, they a little tussle. You know what I mean? I'm used to seeing hands, but that was like a little, little Bad Girls Club type fight. Christian was there. Dude definitely would have been obliterated. He probably would have been Falcon Punch. But, if she bites you, then you might get rabies. Yeah, either way.
Would y'all like to see Christian in WWE?
Arkham Asylum, WWE, yeah. Put him in her. Put her in Arkham Asylum.
Arkham Asylum is
That's
crazy.
What she is. She a Batman villain.
A Batman villain is insane.
You're not supposed to be eating pizza like that, yo. It ain't no good pizza in the earth. All right, I love Chicago deep dish, but you don't see me up here going OD with everything, cheese and everything on
That
it. So
cough kills me every
Wow.
time.
yeah, that's all that. Hey man, Dr. Sebi would like to have a word with her. Send her to him. Anyhow. Yeah, but it went from there. They had their little tussle, as I called it. You know what I mean? The little, I guess that's how they fight over there. I was about to say something wild, but you know, you're not supposed to do that. So now they got a match. So everybody's about to be tuned into the match. I expect them to really, be stiffing each other. But at the same time, hey, bro, you got one good shot. He better than me. Like I said, you got one good shot on me, and after that, it ain't gonna be no tussle. I'm just gonna go for the knockout. I'm gonna warm the ribs up.
That's
So wait, is
That's
this
a-
like
Only
the
go for the
first
ribs,
time?
kid.
I'm sorry, is this like the first time anyone ever had a shoot fight with Okada? Because I mean, he's up there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I would imagine a lot of
he's
wrestlers
a
envy him.
yeah. That's where it comes from. He's a John Cena over there. Arguably between 2014 and 16, he probably was the best in the world. Arguably,
Mhm.
he's the Roman Reigns. He's the money maker. So but the New Japan, the owners are a bunch of British people, so they probably like, yeah, it's fine. But if it was the old Japan rules back in the day, yeah, that young boy would have been handled properly.
Yeah.
Interesting. Jordan?
Now it's interesting. My bad. I didn't want to interject or interrupt, but I was gonna say it is interesting. There hasn't been something like this in wrestling, at least on this level. There was a WWE show. I think it was Great Balls of Fire, right? And it was the Fatal Four, not even the Fatal Four Way, or maybe it was a Fatal Four. It was one of these shows in like 2018 where Braun was going up against Brock, and then Braun like hit Brock too hard, and then Brock just like kneed him a couple times in the face and was like, slow down. And then
That
they
shit was
kept
funny.
going with the match.
Oh, that was a triple threat.
Yeah.
I hate to cut you off, brother. That was at the triple threat at Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I thought it was a triple threat. I knew it wasn't the Fatal Four because I know the Fatal Four was at SummerSlam, but I knew it was like some type of
Yeah.
multi-man match. But you were good. You good. But like even that wasn't on the level of this. Because like you said, Okada is their John Cena, is their Roman Reigns. So like there's never really been a point in time in New Japan or any wrestling company where a top star is involved in a full-blown shoot fight during a match and during technically still the biggest event of the year, right? Wrestle Kingdom is their WrestleMania. So it's like this is still their biggest event of the year. So I don't think anything like this has happened in New Japan. And to be honest, something like this hasn't really happened in pro wrestling, at least in recent memory. So I like when I saw the incident kind of unfold and occur, like I felt like that young boy went into business for himself. And he started just kind of taking things into his own hands because of what some things that were said that may have hurt his ego. And I think Boy was out of line because we just saw Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay flesh out their personal feuds, but it wasn't on this level. It's like, all right, you give me your shots, I give you my shots, but we're still going to do business. We're still going to keep it professional in this ring and do what we got to do. You know what I'm saying? So that young boy was, in my opinion, that young boy was out of line. And Okada had every right to smoke him the way that he did because that's just not the time. You know what I'm saying? You handle that stuff backstage, or if you hit me with a shot, I'm going to hit you with a shot, and then we're going to keep it pushing. But like going into the ring unceremoniously, randomly, when it wasn't your time, and essentially advancing your own personal agenda. Mind you, it's a tag team match. So Okada has a partner that he has to work with, and that young boy had a partner that he had to work with. So it's like now you're leaving those two wrestlers out for dead, and now you're tarnishing their names because you decided that you wanted to take matters into your own hands because you was hurt. I think that's whack to me. That's whack to me, and that's out of line. And if I was Okada, I wouldn't even accept that match because I think that match is going to be at a Noah event. Like, no, you come into my company during our biggest event of the year, and then you take matters into your own hands and you act out of line, and now you want me to have a match in your company? That's like a reward because like I'm drawing for your company now. So it's like why I don't know. Okada's way more generous than either Okada's way more generous than I could ever be, or somebody in Noah got some dirt on somebody in New Japan and they just got to make a deal work. But I wanted to
Well,
know if y'all had anything
you
else to
you
say.
always do. Yeah, you always do the business for the company because that's what it's based on, the company and the fans. So you always got to do the business based on, what the owners tell you to do. So it's been plenty of times that people didn't want to do the job for Ultimate Warrior. And I know Kevin Nash in particular he told Vince McMahon, I should say, he said, well, if he can get one over on me, and Vince McMahon was like, what do you mean? Well, if he can actually beat me up, then he'll get put over. Otherwise, I'm not putting him over. So Okada in this instance will have to, bro, if it's me, I'm not doing the job because of what just took place. Now, prior to that, I probably would have did the job, even though it wouldn't make sense just because I'm Okada, but I still do the job. You can always do the favor for somebody. But now it's like, nah, I'm not doing the job for you. And then especially if I think you're gonna come in here and try to waff me a couple of times, and it's like, yeah. But you never do this. I don't care where you at. Once again, you never try to do this. Hell, if it was in the E, everybody would have been either fired or fined for that type of conduct. You don't do it. And like you said, it takes away from the whole tag match.
Well, do you think that New Japan thinks that this is a way to capitalize at all, or not at all? Just because, I mean, in both shows we had like, some shock factor things that happened, and this is again, from what you guys just expressed to me, this is like the first time something like this had happened. Like, I think out of everything that was discussed from that show, besides the tribute that they did, and by the way, shout out to New Japan for putting out a tribute to Jay Briscoe. This was the biggest talking point of the night because who would be so bold as to hit a top star? And again, of all places, Japan. You know what I mean? So do you think they just see this as like a money grab? Like, since it already happened and we let it go for so long on the show before we stopped it and they still have a match coming up, should we just milk it, since now there's like that blurred line of like, was this a work? Was this not a work? You know what I mean? Fans love that. They love seeing like the blend of like, the real versus the fake. They love those mind
Mm-hmm.
games. So what do you think?
I think it's definitely a grab at this point, but you never need to do anything like this, especially them. They never done anything like this before because they don't really go on stories. Of course, the story is involved because you got to do a build up for a match. Obviously, we saw that with Jay White and Okada. We've seen that with Jay White and others. We see that with Tama Tonga and his build ups when he was talking about the OC. So, you always got to have a build up. It's pro wrestling. You got to have some type of story. But for this, now they're probably doing it as clout chasing to a certain degree. But the match was gonna happen anyway. It's just now this is involved, so it's gonna get people to watch. But again, if I'm one of the workers or specifically Okada, it's like, hey, bro, I'm gonna tell you one time, do not hit me. That's it. That's what it comes down to. It's like no matter what you do, it's just like if we was playing basketball. If you gonna hit me with the hard elbows, all right. When you come down this lane, I'm gonna put you on the floor. I'm gonna have a hard screen for you. So same rules apply. Same thing.
Oh, my bad. I didn't know if it was if I was supposed to say anything. But I
This your
think,
show,
Right?
Mr. Nahisi.
listen. So here's what I'll say. Right. So I think that this is a grab for Noah. I don't think this is a grab for New Japan.
Yeah.
Because, and ultimately, I wouldn't be surprised if someone from Noah was like, hey, if you want to take it a little bit further, you can do that. Because now with this open format and open collaboration style of pro wrestling where companies are working with each other, it's one of those, I give you one, you owe me one. So now it's one of those things where Noah is like, well, we allowed our top stars to do your WrestleMania, your Wrestle Kingdom. So now you got to let your top stars do stuff for us. So we're gonna book this match. So I wouldn't be surprised, but I think it would have been a grab for New Japan if it was building up towards another New Japan event. But because I think this is something pertaining to a Noah guy, I think that this is more so kind of like a Noah thing, if that makes sense. So that's just like the way that I see it. I think it's a Noah grab. I think if there's anybody that's going to benefit from this, it is Noah. Um, but I want to know what everybody else thinks of it. I want to know everybody else's opinions on it. Be sure to contribute. Talk to us. Let us know how you feel about the incident, and let us know if that young boy is out of line, because I think he was. Anyway,